Three of the best drifters around, and that is Jennifer Malik, George Kingara, and Vincent Saleh. Hold on tight. Friday Live starts now.
Our universities are now in better financial health and are on track to settle their outstanding debts within 3 years.
President William Ruto urges universities to allow students with unpaid fees to sit exams while pledging to clear over 120 billion shilling debt in 3 years.
Tunasema sadaka ikitolewa isitangazwe. Itolewe kama sadaka, na ikitolewa sisi kama PEFA tutaziweka katika kazi ya Mungu.
Leaders from the NCCK and PEFA Church oppose the decision to return funds donated by President Ruto and call for private contributions to avoid political influence. ODM's acting leader Anyang' Nyong'o denies internal strife within the party following the inclusion of 4 members in Ruto's cabinet. The National Biosafety Authority invites the public to give their views on the release of genetically modified maize and says that the exercise is meant to assure safe consumption. Now, our sign language interpreter for tonight is Clement Muli. Now, President William Ruto says that in the next 3 years, public universities will settle their debts amounting to 120 billion owing to the new university funding model. Now, however, in the same breath, he called on vice chancellors to allow students to sit for their end-of-year exams pending the disbursement of government funds. Now, meanwhile, Education CS Julius Migos confirmed that due to the suspension of the new funding model, continuing students will receive government support, with only the next year's first cohort being affected until the cohort decides the matter.
At the 59th graduation ceremony at Scott Christian University in Machakos County, President William Ruto yet again defended the new university funding model, confidently stating that the model will help public universities settle the debts amounting to 120 billion shillings.
By implementing this model, the government was able to disburse 41 billion shillings in student loans and scholarships to universities within a year. As a result, our universities are now in better financial health and are on track to settle their outstanding debts within 3 years.
Despite the model being scrutinized in court, the head of state vowed the government would do everything in its power to ensure it's fully implemented.
It is not right that we continue a model that has created huge debts. And that is why I am deliberate, I am intentional, and I am focused on making sure that we have a model that does not again take our university education to where we have it.
At the same time, he urged public universities to allow students to sit for their end-of-semester exams as they await the government's disbursement.
I urge universities to exercise patience and understanding with students. The spirit of human consideration is especially critical given the additional challenge posed by litigation, which could disrupt the implementation of the model. Therefore, I appeal to universities to allow students to sit for their end-of-semester examination while awaiting the resumption of full disbursements once the process gives direction on the matter.
Meanwhile, Education CS Julius Migos had clarified that the suspension of the new university funding model will not affect continuing students, but only next year's first cohort.
We got an opinion from the AG that said what was stopped was us admitting the next cohort based on the funding until we resolve it, but in terms of releasing the funds, we release the funds and the school.
Ruto further acknowledged that government owes Scott Christian University 460 million shillings under the old funding model, adding that the government is working around the clock to pay the huge debts. Harriet Chimea, K24.
Now, PEFA and NCCK have distanced themselves from the Catholic and Anglican churches' decision to return contributions made by President William Ruto. They vowed to accept donations from the president and other political leaders. Now, speaking during the ordination of 56 new clergy in Mtwapa, Kilifi County, church leaders expressed support for the fight against corruption, but made it clear that they oppose the public declaration of political contributions for political gain in churches. Boniface Msangi reports from Mombasa County.
Division has emerged among religious leaders over President William Ruto's habit of making donations in churches. Pentecostal bishops from PEFA and NCCK have announced they will accept donations from the president and other politicians visiting their churches.
Kuna madhehebu ambao wamesema sadaka watakuwa wanaangalia, kuna ile wanakubali, kuna ile wamekataa. Sisi kama ushirika wa PEFA bado hatuna mbinu ya kukagua ni gani inakubalika na ni gani inakataliwa. Kwa hivyo kuanzia sasa hivi tukiendelea bado tutazipokea sadaka zote na tutaziweka katika kazi.
Led by NCCK Deputy Chair and PEFA Church President Bishop Dr. John Okinda, the leaders emphasized that the opposition lies in the announcement of donation amount for political purposes, not the contribution themselves.
Sisi kama PEFA turudishi sadaka kwa sababu hatuwezi kujua hizi sadaka zimetoka wapi unless tuwe na mikakati ya kuziangalia. Tunashukuru wote, ila tunasema sadaka ikitolewe isitangazwe.
The church also called on citizens to hold the government accountable while opposing the regulation of churches' contributions and the supported taxation on profitable projects initiated by churches.
Wakati kanisa limeanzisha biashara ambayo imesajiliwa, biashara hiyo ikitengeneza faida, ilipe ushuru kama biashara zingine zote za watu wengine, pasipo kusema hii ni biashara ya kanisa. Kama ni shule zinatoa ushuru, PEFA ikisajilisha shule na shule imepata faida, walipe ushuru.
The top PEFA leadership attending the ordination of 56 new clergy at PEFA Church in Mtwapa, Kilifi County urged the government to expedite the appointment of IBC commissioners and to embrace constructive criticism from both church and the public.
Na rai serikali ikaweze kuhakikisha kwamba IBC imeundwa kwa haraka ili kwamba wale ambao ni wapiga kura wasiweze kuwa wasikose haki yao ya kupiga kura kwa sababu hakuna taasisi ya kusimamia kura.
Ndani kama Wakenya wanapinga kila kitu, na ni kwamba tu kuna mambo fulani tu ambao labda wanatofautiana, lakini si kwamba wanapinga, na ningeomba tu kwamba serikali ikapate kuangalia hilo jambo.
Boniface Msangi, K24, Mombasa.
Now, the Orange Democratic Movement Party, ODM, has distanced itself from recent controversial remarks made by Suna East Member of Parliament, that is Junet Mohammed, and Mining and Blue Economy CS Hassan Joho. In a statement issued by interim party leader and Kisumu Governor, Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, ODM emphasized that it does not represent the interests of any other party. Brian Amwai, has that story.
Tumeamua kutembea na wewe bega kwa bega. Lakini saa hii kuna watu ODM wako ndani ya serikali.
If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, ODM says it's not a duck.
ODM is not in government. And I think you need to get that very, very clearly.
The Orange Democratic Movement Party has repeatedly denied being part of the government since President William Ruto formed the broad-based administration. But actions by some of its senior members paint a different picture.
Wale watu wanatembea hapa kando kando wanasema ati hao na pinzani, hawa ni watu fake. Upinzani ni mimi. Na mtu asichukue kazi yangu tafadhali.
Since their generous donation of experts to the government of William Ruto, the so-called not part of government has been on the road with the head of state, defending not only the government but also the president himself.
Kwetu tumeamua ya kwamba tunafanya kazi na Mheshimiwa Rais, tunamuunga mkono kwa njia yoyote. Leo, kesho na milele.
Minority leader Junet Mohammed, in a recent trip to Taita Taveta, was seen accompanying the head of state, a far cry from his role in opposition. His remarks during the event have reignited questions about ODM's role in the Ruto administration.
They spoke in that manner as in their individual capacities. They have the freedom of expression. They can say what they have to say, and they will be judged with by Kenyans different.
In response to the growing debate, ODM released a statement firmly defending its position. The statement reads, and I quote, "Let there be no misunderstanding. ODM does not play second fiddle or trumpet the interests of any other political party. We remain a formidable force in shaping Kenya's political landscape, firmly rooted in our principles and ideology." Governor Nyong'o clarified that any political partnerships ODM engages in are not acts of submission, but strategic moves to achieve their ultimate goal, which is capturing power and transforming the lives of Kenyans. Still, this statement seems ironic when compared to the actions of some of ODM leaders, leaving many Kenyans wondering where the party truly stands.
Na saa hii mimi naona hizo ndio inafanyika. Sasa tutapinga ya nini? Kama kazi inafanyika, tunaweza kupinga kweli? Tunangoja ya kupinga. Bado haijapatikana.
Brian Amoai, K24.
Now, politicians in the Mount Kenya region are finding themselves increasingly unwelcome at funeral ceremonies, a shift that comes in the wake of the violent chaos that erupted at a funeral in Bibirioni, Limuru, Kiambu County just last week. Now, this was especially noticeable during the funeral of Jane Muthoni, the mother of Ministry of Gender Permanent Secretary Anne Wangombe in Nyeri County. Unlike past events, politicians were notably absent from the program and denied the opportunity to speak. Our reporter Edwin Mbugua has more details on that.
In the past, funerals were used as political platforms, with the politicians delivering speeches and sending condolences. However, this practice is now seeing a sharp decline. This comes just a week after violent scenes were witnessed at a funeral in Limuru constituency, Kiambu County. With growing pressure from religious leaders and escalating political tensions in Mount Kenya region, many politicians seem to be avoiding funeral events altogether. At the funeral of Jane Muthoni, the mother to gender PS Anne Wangombe in Nyeri County, only a handful of local politicians attended. Among them were Duncan Mathenge, MP for Nyeri Town, Geoffrey Wandeto, MP for Teto, Rehab Mukami, the woman representative, and East African Assembly MP Maina Karofia. 3 permanent secretaries also attended. However, key allies of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua were notably absent. Normally, messages of condolence from the president and his deputy are read aloud and presented to the family. Yet, at this ceremony, it was unclear whether the president and deputy president had sent their condolences at all.
There are those who have written condolence messages, and because we may not have time to listen, and we don't have time to listen, indeed, we request that you pass them to the family.
Just a month ago, Nakuru Governor Susan Kihika found herself struggling to read the president's message of condolence at a funeral in Bahati, highlighting the growing discomfort with such formalities.
Condolence message from His Excellency William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya.
The growing trend appears to be motivated by the desire to avoid political tensions and the occasional violence that has marred similar events in the past. Edwin Mbugua, K24.
Now, Parliament has officially commenced its December-long recess today and will resume proceedings on February 10th, 2024. That is 2025, I beg your pardon. Now, however, a cloud of tension looms as some MPs face backlash for decisions that went against their constituents' wishes, particularly regarding the finance bill. Now, the removal of Rigathi Gachagua's deputy president is among those, and to address the security concerns, measures have been enhanced for legislatures amidst fears of hostile crowds. Additionally, 5 billion shillings has been dispersed to the National Government Constituencies Development Fund in an effort to appease the public. Joel Chacha has reports on Parliament's performance report for 2024.
The final sittings of the National Assembly and Senate officially marked the end of Parliament's calendar for 2024. Proceedings are set to resume on February 10th, 2025.
This sitting, therefore, will mark the conclusion of regular sittings of the third session of the 13th Parliament and the beginning of a well-deserved break.
However, due to growing concerns over Parliament's handling of crucial issues, which led to the historic protests by Gen Z, the public is now poised to hold legislators accountable.
But for those who have voted yes, we leave it to the public to make their own judgment.
Sessions must never stop. We must achieve the final thing, and the final thing is to ensure that the oppressor is out of power.
In the Mount Kenya region, lawmakers who supported the removal of Rigathi Gachagua as deputy president are now seeking heightened security amidst fears of retaliation from constituents.
Sisi hatupangwi hata siku moja.
The president could have done better, and I believe that whatever has happened today, we will live to remember. We will live to remember what the son of the soul has done, and we will live to remember what was done for our people.
Mtu anakuja hapa anasema, oh, shareholders, nyinyi hawezi kuwa hapa. Si tulinyorosha Simuliona vile tulinyorosha Simuliona vile tulinyorosha Na mtu yeyote ambaye ataleta ujinga kama hiyo, wembe ni ule ule.
To counter growing discontent, MPs have received 5 billion Kenya shillings to issue bursaries and oversee development projects. This marks a major shift compared to last year when parliamentary sessions were disrupted due to delays in disbursing the fund. An additional 7 billion has been promised for release between January and June 2025.
We are only crying for the poor Kenyans are overtaxed. Reaching January, no one will have fees. If there is bursary, why are they holding?
Parliament, however, remains incomplete due to pending by-elections in Ugunja and other constituencies. These include Ugunja, where Opiyo Wandayi was appointed Energy Cabinet Secretary, and the Treasury docket which saw John Mbadi vacate his position as a nominated MP. Other gaps include Harrison Kombe's seat following nullification of his election, and the late Banisa MP Hassan Kulo. The delay in filling these positions is attributed to the absence of a functional electoral body, IEBC. Mzalendo Trust is expected to release a comprehensive report over the weekend, detailing the number of bills and motions considered in 2024.
In keeping with established practice, the clerk is preparing a more comprehensive report detailing the activities of the House.
Joel Chacha, K24 TV, Nairobi.
With that story, we're taking a short break right here on Friday Live. We have more news right after the break. Do stay with us.
As the sun rises, so do we, as we trust it to rise and set without any worries interrupting your day. StarTimes Home Solar Solution.